science and philosophy. Yeah. I kind of can't believe that I'm going to be Div 3 soon, and I've been an orientation leader for 3 years. Yes, time does fly, let me tell you that. But I have to say, I love move-in days. There is something about volunteering to carry really heavy boxes and bags up flights of stairs while sweating like a pig that just makes me feel very strong and badass. And while I really love how toned my arms feel by the end of the day, what I love more is meeting all the new students and their friends and families. The environment is such a wonderful mixture of excitement, nervousness, and anticipation, combined with the stress of moving in, especially if you're on the 3rd floor. Or 4th, actually, like I found out today. I love this environment because it reminds me of myself 3 years ago. I still distinctly remember it was the day I was supposed to fly out of India. Up until then, I was really excited to be coming to Hampshire. The people seemed great, I loved the sound of my classes, and I'd be seeing snow for the first time. But then the gravity of the situation hit me. And I remember sitting down and singing these lines from Sound of Music because they so perfectly described what I was feeling. What will this day be like? I wonder. What will the future be? I wonder. It could be so exciting to be out in the world, to be free. Oh, my heart should be wildly rejoicing. Oh, what is the matter with me? Well, the matter was there were a lot of questions to which I had no definite answers. How would I deal with the harsh winters of Massachusetts when the coldest it got back home was 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or to my fellow metric users, 10 degrees Celsius? What if I didn't get any of the cultural references people were making? How would the food work out? I've never been away from home for more than a week. What if I got really homesick? Yes, I had no definite answers, but I took a leap of faith. And now here I am. Now sometimes I think that 0 degrees Celsius is t-shirt and light jacket weather. And cultural references and idioms, yeah, I still miss a few of them, and people miss some of the references I make, but that hasn't been a problem with connecting with people like I'd feared. We have fun pulling each other's legs about it and rack our brains about how best to explain it. And the food. Well, after eating pizza, fried potato, and great desserts for my first year, I started cooking for myself and strategically going to talks and student group meetings that had great food. So you should do that, I'm just saying. And yes, I did get homesick, more often in my first year than now, and I'm not going to say that I was never sad. I was sad. But things like Skype calls and hugs from friends definitely helped. But other than all of this, I've also made great friends, had a lot of intellectually stimulating classes, had great conversations, both with peers and professors, seen a lot of brainwaves, debated the existence of free will, worked with babies, tried to build a pedal-powered blender when I hadn't even used a wrench before. I didn't finish it, but I acted in plays, I watched a lot of plays, I went stargazing, I got hypnotized, like actually hypnotized, and I watched people eat fire and played Quidditch. And ever since my first few weeks at Hampshire, there have been so many times when I'm really grateful for taking that leap of faith, because there is no other place that I would rather be at. And if I had to redo it, I would take that leap of faith and pick Hampshire in a flash again. Most people starting any college have usually taken a leap of faith and come in with their own sets of questions and indefinite answers. However, when starting college at Hampshire, people usually have to deal with a unique set of questions that most college students don't have to deal with. For example, what are all these distribution requirements and cumulative skills and CELs and all this other stuff? How do these midterm self-evaluations and final self-evaluations work? What are you supposed to include in them? How does a course evaluation look like? Will they be translated into grades while applying for internships or universities? How are electives different from other classes? Can 5 college classes count towards satisfying any of the divisional requirements? And talking of 5 college classes, how many can you take? How do you register for them? So many questions. But during orientation in the next few days, there is a good amount of time to help you navigate Hampshire's complicated, but in my opinion, amazing academic system. But more importantly, you will be pointed to people, offices, and other sources who can help you figure out the answers to these questions when you have them in the future. Because, to know is not enough, like we agree, but knowing how to figure out answers just might be when it comes to navigating Hampshire's academic system. And before you know it, like me, you might be answering all these questions, and it's insane, I'm telling you. But, questions related to Hampshire's academic system is not the only set of unique questions that people starting at Hampshire will have to engage in. There is a whole range of questions that a lot of students in other colleges can choose to not engage in, or maybe not even come across if they're not passionate or studying some form of social justice. For example, when is something cultural sharing and when is it cultural appropriation? Can a person of color be racist? What does it mean to own up to one's privilege? How am I benefiting from the system without even realizing it? How should I, as a bystander, react if I witness violence or microaggressions? How much of my interactions with people are being influenced by social constructs? Who should get to decide, if anyone, about what social constructs are harmful? But these discussions tend to be a big part of life at Hampshire, irrespective of what you're studying. And I was very intimidated by this when I came in, because I felt like I did not know anything about these questions or even have the vocabulary to truly understand what these questions were saying. And I was too scared to ask because I didn't want to risk offending someone or sound really stupid. And let me tell you, a lot of people feel this way. So if you're feeling this, know that you're not alone. There are a lot of opportunities during orientation to slowly start getting your feet wet, engaging with these questions. Opportunities to not just acquire some of this vocabulary, but also context to understand where people are coming from and why is it even important to ask these questions. There's opportunities to ask your own questions and opportunities to listen, to truly listen to what other people might be saying, even if what they're saying might be disagreeable, especially if what they're saying might be disagreeable. And that's not to say you learn everything you need to learn during orientation. Hardly. I feel like I learn more each time I engage in a discussion. I learn more every year during orientation leader training. Yeah, we do have training. And even I'm engaging in these conversations with new students every year. But this time during orientation that you spend, it's important because it plants the seed. It gives you a time to reflect before you're overwhelmed with all other students coming in and classes and student group meetings, work study, homework. Yes, lots of things to be overwhelmed with. So I hope you have a great time at orientation. And apart from getting oriented to all the buildings and offices on campus, and if you manage to learn all the million acronyms we have at Hampshire by the end of orientation, I will be really impressed. I hope that Hampshire's unique set of questions will seem a little less daunting. I hope that you will feel more connected to the Hampshire community, and I really hope that you find a way to satisfactorily fit all your stuff in your room. So, yeah, that's true. And while your experience at Hampshire might be very different from mine, with your own sets of adventures and your own personalized journey of academic and personal growth, I hope you'll be as glad as I am for taking your leap of faith. Welcome to Hampshire. And now I have the honor of introducing President Jonathan Lash, or J. Lash as we call him. Jonathan Lash is entering his 6th year as president of Hampshire College and has dedicated his career to building institutions and leading people to help solve pressing problems of our planet. He has served previously as the president of World Resources Institute, a Washington-based environmental think tank focusing on issues ranging from low-carbon development to sustainable transportation. He has also served as the Vermont Secretary of Natural Resources, Director of the Environmental Law Center at Vermont Law School, Senior Staff Attorney of the Natural Resources Defense Council, a federal prosecutor, and a Peace Corps volunteer and trainer. An internationally recognized environmental leader and an expert on climate change and sustainability, he was appointed by President Obama to the Blue Ribbon Commission on America's Nuclear Future, chaired the President's Council on Sustainable Development for Bill Clinton, and led Vermont's environmental program under Governor Madeleine Kunin. He holds a law degree and a master's degree in education from Catholic University of America and a bachelor's degree from Harvard. I will now turn it over to him.
Grusha, you did great. Thank you. So I have to say, I'm amazed and impressed that you're all willing to come in from the gorgeous late summer day to be serious and listen for a few minutes. But we're very, very glad you're here. Welcome to the students, welcome to the parents, welcome to the families, welcome to the orientation leaders, staff, faculty, and all of our friends. Welcome above all to the 47th Hampshire entering class. You are unique students who have chosen a unique school. I look forward to getting to know you. Let me begin by expressing thanks to Jessica Ortiz, O.C. Gorman, Karina Fernandez, and the amazing crew of student orientation leaders and the whole student life staff for organizing this day and the next few days of orientation. What a fabulous job you do of building an orientation process that reflects Hampshire's values and honors our community. Thank you. And you know all that stuff that Meredith said about you, it's really true. She has been as excited as an expectant mother waiting for you to arrive, and we can't wait to meet you and find out what your questions are and what direction you want to go in. We are incredibly fortunate at Hampshire to have a staff that is deeply committed to our students and aligned with our mission, and it begins with the admissions process. You're all the product of that process. Families, I hope that you feel excited and proud that your students have chosen this very challenging, inquiry-driven, learner-centered school. We take the trust that you place in us very seriously. We've learned that students who thrive at Hampshire are independent-minded. You already knew that. That they're driven by the passion to understand and be engaged, eager to seize the chance to build their own education, searching for answers because they want to know, not to get a grade. They show empathy for others, they care about their communities, they're socially conscious, you, make this a remarkable school to be a part of, and I feel privileged to spend time as its president. So, here you are, entering Hampshire. There really, really, truly aren't any grades. You really will design your own education. But, of course, all that comes with a catch. You figured that out already, right? With freedom comes responsibility. You make it happen. You will have devoted faculty partners and attentive academic support systems, but you're the owner, you're the operator, you're responsible for it. Hampshire is a place designed for active users. It's very hard on passivity. It rewards inquisitiveness, opens space for creativity, demands commitment, extreme sports for the mind. You each come with your own experience, question, and ideas. You probably chose Hampshire, at least in part, because it offers the opportunity to explore your questions and expand on your ideas, even if that exploration leads you from art to science to politics and back again. Okay, open yourself to the opportunity. Try your ideas. Reflect on your experiences. As Meredith said, I have posted on the wall of my office the saying, reflection enhances learning, because the evidence is so powerful that students who spend time reflecting on the experience get much more out of it. I said a moment ago that each of you is unique, and that's true, absolutely true, and particularly true of this group, but you are also now a part of a community of inquiry whose life takes place both in and outside of the classroom. I encourage you to think about learning at Hampshire as taking place throughout our community, on the farm, in your hall, in student organizations, online, through your friendships, and even, as Grusha said, through your arguments with each other. You will gain immeasurably from your time here if you open yourself to listen to other people's experiences, reflect on your own, engage other students, faculty, and staff in your questions, the ones that are most pressing for you. Learning at Hampshire is a community effort, and the results are remarkable. We've surveyed our alumni, and here are some of the things that they told us. 99% said the school taught them to think and work independently. Well, they probably arrived doing that, but 94% report that their Hampshire education prepared them to be uniquely adept at solving problems and inventing solutions. 2/3 of our alumni earn advanced degrees within 10 years of graduating, and we're in the top 1% nationwide in the percentage of alumni going on to get the highest degree in their field. 26% of our alumni have launched their own business or created their own organization. In the last couple of years, students from Hampshire earned 2 Princess Grace Awards, a Gates Millennium Scholars Award, a Freeman Award for Asian Studies, 2 Humanity in Action Fellowships, 6 Gilman Fellowships, and 15 Fulbrights. A central part of the Hampshire education is student involvement in the community. It takes many forms. Students serve as members of the board of the college, and along with faculty as members of their school. Students serve on our Budget and Priority Committee, and on the Committee on Faculty Appointments and Promotions that passes on each application for reappointment by a member of the faculty. So far as I know, no other school includes students in basic governance to this degree. Decades ago, students played a key role in persuading Hampshire to become the first school to divest from South Africa. And in recent years, students persuaded our board to formalize its policy against holding shares in companies that profit from private prisons. Student engagement has shaped the buildings and if you're curious about that particular one, we post on the website the account of all the stocks we hold and the benefit we get from actually not being invested in the prison industrial complex. Student engagement has shaped the buildings and physical structures on campus. The Roos Roadhouse, which is the green building sort of over there that houses the Mixed Nuts Cooperative, was a student project. It used to be a barn on the property of the president's house. The new Kern Center over here was deeply influenced by student work on the planning committee, and its systems are now part of our curriculum. The latest project shaped by student involvement is our commitment to become the first residential campus in the United States that is 100% solar. Last month, we broke ground for a new solar installation. 15,000 solar panels on 19 acres, 4.7 megawatts, enough to meet 100% of our needs on an annualized basis and avoid emissions of about 3,000 metric tons of carbon each year. So why would a small, not very rich college in snow country launch a project like this? First, and this is the most interesting fact, we will save at least $400,000 a year, at least $8 million over the life of the project, based on no advanced capital investment, because our partner is making the investment. Second, producing energy locally from the sun is an antidote to environmental exploitation. Creates local jobs, it avoids the need to build expensive polluting power plants or push new pipelines through communities. Third, the people most vulnerable to global climate change caused storms, drought, and sea level rise are those living closest to the edge of survival, people whose lives have almost no impact on warming, but on whom warming is having a disastrous effect. We have a moral obligation to do what we can to reduce emissions, and Hampshire College can do this. Fourth, and this is probably most important, experience is an essential part of our approach to education. Today's students, those of you in the 47th entering class, will have to build the low carbon economy of the future. What better training than help design, manage, and measure its effects here on your own campus? Hampshire has, since its founding, sought to live up to a commitment to social justice. Grusha talked about that a good deal in her address. Last spring, Hampshire, like many schools across the country, was confronted by student activism and protest. The events of the spring challenged us as a community and as individuals to deal with real issues, of race, fairness, and sexual assault, and to talk about and address those problems as a community. Over the summer, I've spoken with dozens of faculty, staff, and students who believe passionately in Hampshire and believe that we can deal with the issues that were raised and strengthen our capacity to interact about hard issues with openness, justice, and respect. To achieve that, each person in our community must have a voice, and listening will be as important a skill as speaking. We've created 3 groups that will actively work with the campus over the coming months to help us shape a path forward as a community. An advisory council on sexual misconduct and campus safety, which will work with the campus to develop recommendations for extending our existing survivor support services training for students, faculty, and staff. The Advisory Council on Hampshire's commitment to anti-racism will develop recommendations for support of underrepresented communities at Hampshire and campus-wide training on anti-racism, white privilege, implicit bias, and equity-minded educational practices. The Advisory Council on Speaking Across Resilient Communities will enable a vibrant campus community engaged in dialogue across a range of issue areas, using the capacity of the entire campus to strengthen our ability to live and work together as a community of inquiry, justice, and respect. This work is for all of us. It is a part of, not separate from, the Hampshire education. Be involved. Be part of it. Learn from it. Reflect on it. Have the courage to be a full player. 2016 Fs, as you come as digital natives, you're a generation of Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, Vine, and whatever comes next that I don't understand. I believe that at Hampshire, you will find new ways to use these tools to learn, discover, question, and create. But I have one additional request of you. I ask that you remember that truth and respect matter in the digiverse as well as on campus. Hampshire's mission is to educate for change and change education. Let's have a great time working together over the next 4 years to create change that matters. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is